seats, settle down and pay attention. This is the position for which there is no vice. This is the one that is in charge, the man representing the big enchilada, A number 1. Going to be slightly different this time, because this year we have got 2 sabbaticals running for the position of president and no full-time students. I am perfectly willing to take comments or questions on their current year in office, as well as what they plan to do for the future, within reason. Other than that, all the usual rules apply. We'll start off with the speeches, and I'll fire off a few questions. Then we'll take comments on the floor and the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage your candidates for President, Osama and Steph. We're going to start with the 90-second speech. First to tell us why they should be president will be Osama. I start when you start speaking.
Good evening. For the few of you who don't know me here, I'm Osama. I started at Surrey in 2006 as a regular engineering student with my hard hat and my big afro, ready to learn. I've always been involved in the student union and would love to be involved again next year. In my second year, I was elected as class rep. I was president of Arabic Society, as well as a student guide of the UCAS Day. In my fourth year, I was the treasurer of the same society, and finally, thanks to your vote, I'm the acting vice president of societies and individual development. So surely the next step is to become president. This year, I've gained knowledge, experience, and confidence to lead the student union for the next coming year. I have 3 main goals in my manifesto. Communications. I think that this communication is the key thing and is the priority to every student to be able to come and communicate with their president and clubs and societies as well. They would like to come and communicate with their members. So, as we heard previously, Skynet, which is the new website that's coming up, that would be one of the main reasons that you can communicate with people and the medias as well, which we've got broadcasting this slide. Secondly, involvement in the decision making. I'd like students to become more involved in decision making, so you can try to come and speak to me, email me, or text me on the new phone that we'll have next year. And finally, the culture and diversity. At the heart of Surrey is its culture and is its cultural diversity. The highlight of this organization is to highlight this, I've organized the International Festival, or the iFestival as you know it, this year, which has proved to be very successful.
Thank you, Osama. Steph, your 90 seconds.
This year, I've had the honour to represent you guys as your Vice President for Education. And now I'm sat here before you to ask for your vote as President. This year, I've heavily increased the profile of the student academic representatives, and I created the first academic rep assembly that enabled students to talk directly to senior management about issues and concerns in their course. I've constantly been engaged in all of the faculties, ensuring that the student voice has been heard and represented, and I've constantly communicated to the university the student view. Another thing I've begun to do this year is to bring the students and the university together as a community. If elected your president, I want to continue working with the university. I want to build on the strong relationships I have already created, and I want to increase union pressure and influence on the decisions that the university are making. I want to minimise the impact of the funding cuts and the fee increase that take place, and I want to ensure that all students still receive the same quality of service. Communication this year for me has been vital, and I want to deliver and promote the union's new communication project called Skynet. And any feedback you give to the university, I want to ensure that it's fed back to you and something happens with it. And finally, getting involved. Everyone knows about Rubik's and Chancellors, but there's also clubs, societies, volunteering, training, trips and activities, and the area I'm most passionate about, support and advice. I want to promote all of these aspects. I want to celebrate the diversity, the talent and success of the 16,000 students here at Surrey, and I want to engage as many people as possible in the union. So thank you.
Okay, moving into some questions. As the President, you are the sole sabbatical responsible for the training activities of the union, which are not insubstantial. They turn over £2 million a year. However, it is a very, very difficult time for the business we are in. People are drinking less, duty is going up on alcohol, people have got less and less money. Do you think that the union should continue with its training activity as it is? What do you foresee your plans for the next year in those areas? Steph.
Okay, so the commercial aspect of the union is quite a big deal. It helps supply and support the membership services side, so that's all the funding that comes into the student activities, clubs, societies, minibuses. I think for the training to continue would ensure that the membership side remains robust. I understand this year already the bar tabs have started to fall and students are spending less and less on training services. But I think in this new economic climate we need to think fast and act smart and look for ways around this.
Thank you. Osama?
We absolutely agree with Steph. Trading activities in this university, especially the Students' Union ones, are feeding back into sports and societies and every aspect of the university or the Student Union is doing. I believe that there are different ways that we could look at our trading activities, see where cuts we can do and how we can offer students cheaper prices if possible. And I think that will help students to spend more. As we've seen, the £1.50 entrance to Wednesday nights has increased in the people attending.
Thank you. When you take office, one of you, on the 1st of August, the union will become a registered charity on that day, with a new constitution and a new set of bylaws by which we operate. You have both been part of this process this year in agreeing the constitution and new bylaws. Please take a moment to tell the audience how the new structure will benefit students at the university. Osama.
Okay, the new structure will benefit students at the university by, firstly, as being our own charity, having our own charity number, it means that we can be slightly independent from the university, and every activities that we do is based with the student union on it. So this means that the students will have more flexibility in doing more activities that are underlying the student union, and that every event or fundraising activities that we do is registered, and it makes things easier for the students.
Thank you, Steph.
A similar answer to that, to be fair. Now we've become incorporated, we are fully independent from the university, which helps decide such a support, because the union offers an independent advice from the university, which is something students will need, because, yes, oh dear, sorry, one moment. The students will need that independence, especially with everything that's coming up in the economic climate. Sorry, I think
that's quite all right. Now, as the president, you are the lead representative and you lead the team. You're not necessarily first among equals. You are responsible for the other vice presidents and, with the union chair, the executive committee. Unlike a standard job interview process, it's not necessarily a person job fit. You're going to have a team thrust together. How will you deal with difficult members in that team? Do you have a bollocking stick at your disposal? Steph?
Well, this year, I mean, the same situation occurs, I think, in every executive committee. These are 13 different people that, as you've said, have been thrust together. And I think the ways around this is, communicating through the teams and trying to find structures that you can continue and develop for your membership. We've all been elected for the same reason. We're all there to represent our members. So that's the key thing we need to all follow.
Thank you.
Yes, I would say I'm a difficult person to work with, because everyone has a different opinion and I'd like to voice my opinion. But the other thing that I'm good at is listening to people. I'd like to listen to all sides of the story, see what people, which angles they're coming from, and see if they can bring anything to the table that we can work with.
Great, okay, I'm ready to take some questions from the floor now. Oh, Forrester fans pop up. I shall leave Jamie to pick.
Hi, I think maybe you guys have heard from me before on this issue. I spent 8 years living in Glasgow. I went to university there 10 years ago, and something that's very apparent to me is the phenomenal price, particularly of food and the general cost of living here. How would you guys propose to lower that and to lobby the university to lower their side of it? Because I really feel that students here, being quite young, don't necessarily know how much cheaper things can be elsewhere.
So are you specifically referring to the price in union and university outlets?
Everything on campus, I'm particularly talking about.
So the question of prices on campus. Thank you. Osama?
Thanks, Jack. You have asked me about this question before, and I do agree. I think the prices on campus, it depends on where we are. We're in Guildford, and Guildford is a rich city, and it's quite expensive for the prices of food and stuff. But I think I will work with the university as well as the student union to see what we can bring that's cheaper and that's student value for student, basically, which is what every student wants.
Steph?
There's recently been a university survey called the iGraduate. All students were eligible to fill it out. This survey, one of the main things it highlighted was that there was a concern amongst the students about the cost on campus. So, fingers crossed, working alongside the university, this is something that could be challenged and could be, pressure could be put on them to kind of rethink about how they do this. With regards to accommodation, I do understand that it's expensive. Recent conversations with them about this, the university operates on 30 weeks a year. This is me just giving an explanation of why the costs are. So they work on a 30-week a year, so they have to kind of make up the money for the time that the students aren't here. This is also for the same of the food outlets, for the catering, both the union and the university. They need to make up the money to survive the rest of the year. If end of year goes wrong, then the union is screwed from there over the summer period. But I take your point on board, and this has been raised by the student body, and the university has acknowledged that this is one of the things that needs to be looked into.
Thank you. Anybody else on the floor?
So I'm aware that recently you had a meeting with the Vice-Chancellor prior to the 9k fee increase, tuition fees. My question is, now in light of the situation in the current economic climate, what would you suggest that you, as President, do to ensure that people of lower socio-economic status will actually be catered for?
Okay, did you all catch that?
Yeah, is that?
Right. Steph?
Okay, so as you said, there was a meeting held by the Vice-Chancellor, and he called the sabbaticals up to his office to discuss the university's plans. This was the first consultation the student union had with the university on the fees. We were made aware that the university had a focus group that were looking around other institutions to see what they would charge. We were told by the university that they were charging £9 grand, and obviously as the student union we were not happy with this. But looking around, this does seem like the likely option, and it appeared to be the only option. The Vice-Chancellor assured us that they had looked into things for students from lower economic backgrounds. They were looking for things that help students on the families on the income of 25k and below, and also looking for offers for students on 30k and below in the families. So that's one of their ways to try and improve things. I can't disclose too much because some of the things that have been discussed need to go to the government to see if the proposal can be accepted. So as soon as things like that happen, hopefully then we can move forward. And they're good things if they do get through.
Thank you. Osama?
Absolutely. The meeting that was discussed, I wasn't present at that meeting, so I don't actually know what happened. But the meeting that we had the week gone just with the Vice-Chancellor, we were talking about for students with low economic backgrounds. And the Vice-Chancellor have assured us that there will be things that will happen. Obviously, the university can't give back more than £1,000 for the students, but they're looking into trying to lower their trying to lower the price of their accommodation or something along the lines to help the students with their year.
Thank you. Now, apparently NUS are watching this online, so for their benefit, NUS, let's dig into there. So, team, NUS went through a torturous process of governance review, new structure for the national conference, new constitution and whatnot. Do you think the NUS are now fit for purpose, or Sam?
Is this a yes and no answer?
Well, you can expand as much as you like.
I think the NUS with the restructuring and stuff is the changes that are going to be made are quite. I don't know the full depths of it, so I can't comment fully. But I know that there are good changes because I read briefly on what's happening. But the basically, I think they are fit for purpose.
Thank you, Steph.
The NUS, okay. One thing that works with the NUS, they have this part with them that's called NUSL. NUSL is how we go about our trading services and things like that. They're the people who we get our alcohol, our products, our food, not food, sorry, but
yeah, they do. Yes.
So most of the things that are supplied in the union come from NUSL, and they offer it to us at a reasonable low discount to compare to what you would get in the outside outlets. So for the NUS there, giving us this opportunity to, have these discount products, I think that makes them fit for purpose because they are trying to do that for you.
And what do you feel about their representative role?
Across the union.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the NUS, they have a big voice automatically, they are the national body. I don't necessarily feel that they engage with us as much as they could do. I would quite like to, I've only ever seen the NUS committee when we've gone away to them. I haven't seen any of them come to me, so I would quite like to see them engage with us more.
Okay, fair enough. Let's take some more from the floor. Up to you, Jamie.
Can I ask two things? First
No,
of all,
just if you could, a lot of people want to ask, so if you could keep it to one question, that would be great.
Thank you. The last two presidents have been second-year sabbaticals. With you two running, it shows that continuity is important. What new things will you bring to this role, and why couldn't you do it this year?
Okay, so the last two presidents have been second-year sabbaticals. Which brings continuity to the role. What will you bring from your current experience, and why didn't you run last year? Yeah?
And why?
And why didn't you run last year?
Then why couldn't you implement it this year?
Oh, sorry, why didn't you implement it this year?
Yeah.
Okay. Steph?
Okay, I'm going to start backwards. So I didn't decide to run for president until early this year. So, the reason I haven't implemented any of my decisions is because back then I wasn't 100% sure that this is what I wanted to do. But in my year in office, I've expanded and my intelligence has grown, my experience is huge. And I feel with the things I've been shown, my communication and relationships with the university, I feel has put me in a prime position for communications and relationships and getting things done. And I felt because of because of these relationships, I feel that I can move forward directly from now. Things can start happening as soon as possible. And I've forgotten the first half of the question.
The last two presidents have been second-year sabbaticals. With you two running, it shows that continuity is important, and what new things will you bring to the role?
Okay, so new things, as I said, to bring to the role. My experience, although that's not necessarily a new thing, I've kind of gained this experience, which I will bring into the role. I've mentioned my knowledge. I think I've covered it.
Thank you. Sam?
Okay, continuity is a key thing, and as we've seen in the past 2 years, students and sabbaticals have been rerunning. This is to ensure that the stuff that happens last year is continued and that we build up upon the good things that we've done so far. One new things I bring to this role, I've already mentioned them at the start, and why haven't I implemented them this year? Because I'm VP Societies this year, and I'm more focused on looking onto my role as VP Societies, which was also implementing a new grading system which to help communicate within societies and feedback to the things they do and gain trust with the union.
Well, NUS have just said good luck to all the candidates, hope to see you at the National Conference. So, hello NUS. Right, some more from the floor.
Being a president, you're going to be responsible for 16,000 students so from different backgrounds. How are you going to make sure international students can interact in your union more than the union previous?
How do you make sure that international students
are going to interact in your union much more than the previous union?
So, an area that we didn't do so well on the undergrad survey, we have greater acceptance of the union for home students than we do in international students. There's quite a big discrepancy there. So what can you do to encourage international students to engage with the union more? Sam?
Thanks, Yusuf, for the question. I'm an international student myself, and I've spoken to a lot of international students. And I think that sometimes the things that deter them from the student union is because they only know it for being rubrics or alcohol-based. For some of the cultures, that's not something that they're aware of, and that's not something that they find acceptable. So that's why we have the living room, which the student union can, as a student body or as a society, can hire it out, and the bars can be shut, no alcohol can be in the building. How am I going to include students or get them to be attracted? Hopefully to work with the international societies on campus and to try and make the International Eye Festival something bigger, better, and working with the coming VP societies on that.
Thank you. Steph?
I don't think it's just international students that we need to engage. We also have trouble engaging mature students, distance learners and students that are on placement. What we've done this year with the academic reps, out of the 450 I now have in my database, over half of these students are one of these demographics I've just said, either mature, placement, distant and international students. So I think this is one of the ways we've started to engage those students that don't necessarily come into the union on those matters. As Asama said, many cultures don't always see, they see rubrics and chancellors and think that's not for them. This is why in my manifesto I aim to promote the other aspects such as training, volunteering, trips and activities, and more importantly, support and advice.
Don't you think, Steph, there should be a place for cultures as such to come and socialise and basically use the union more for them? If they feel that chancellors, because of the alcohol presence in it, is somewhere that they can't come, then there should be somewhere else provided.
So are you proposing with the new funding cuts that we have to build a new, I understand the multi-faith centre is currently being up, but
I'm proposing that we maybe need to have a look at Young's Kitchen and start opening it up in case for the evenings for students if they need it.
Okay, thank you. Now, another question from up here. Just to explain to you that the union is going through a 2-year evaluation process called the Student Union Evaluation this year, run by NUS, and it comes to a conclusion this year. So it was started when Elizabeth was president, it's been run by Malcolm this year, it will be finished by one of these two. But they haven't been involved in it this year. It's very, very important for us. It costs £12,000 to do, and it is the only credible measure of how good a union is. So, question to the candidates. How have you contributed to the Surrey process this year, and how can you make sure that Surrey is going to receive the best possible grade when we are assessed this year? That will be Steph first.
You say we haven't been involved in it. I kind of disagree.
No, I'm saying that you have been involved.
Oh, right.
Sorry, you have. You've been part of it.
So the member of staff that is currently working on the Student Union Evaluation Initiative works in my office, so I am at a bit of an advantage from there because she is just across the table for me to communicate to her. What I've done this year is I've constantly ensured that I've fulfilled all the requirements she has asked from me. I've explained how we've represented students, how we've implemented democracy in certain aspects, and she's requested from us that we upload minutes of what's been going on and things like that. And these are some of the things I've been working towards. With regards to representation, which is the main thing that's in my remit, the academic representatives have been a key success in the Surrey project. So with me as president, I would like to continue to promote these aspects, and I think I have the talent and the ability to promote all the other aspects as well. I have a drive to push these forward, and I have a drive to win.
Sam?
With the Surrey project, what Kathy, who's in charge of it, has asked us to do is to try and support, put all the evidence through of what we've been doing so far, and how the minutes of the meetings as well, as Steph said. I've been trying to put this through from the current projects that we've been working on and all the meetings we've had, and also recommending for society on Monday that they should all do a report of what they've achieved this year and how they've learned about it.
I'd just like to amend one of my points. When I said aim to win, I'm aiming to win for gold for the Surrey project. Just in case.
You're not aiming to win that?
Well, yes.
Children, me, you know, shut. Complete change of tack and a question on the internet. Do you think the door staff used by the union are too heavy-handed? Sam, are you lost up?
No, I think that the can we settle down, please? Thank you. I think that the door staff have been trained to do a job, and they must be doing their job properly, because we have those supervisors here who work and know what they're doing. So if they're using force on you, just let them do their job and be peaceful about it.
Steph?
For my whole time working here, my whole time at being at university, I've worked as a supervisor at the Students' Union, both in Chancellors and Rubik's. I've seen firsthand how the door staff treat people, and occasionally students do give them the attitude which could, you know, them on. But I believe that DGL, the company who are the door staff, they do their job properly, and they are there for your safety, and they try and ensure that, you know, nothing bad happens to you.
Thank you. I think we've got a question from you there.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi guys. Given the current economic climate, and more importantly, how do you intend on sustaining and developing funding for sports and societies? And moreover, given the fact that this only affects a certain percentage of students, do you think that this is still important?
Okay, a little bit of background. Again, the conversation we had with the Vice-Chancellor, the topic of subvention did come up. I'll leave the candidates to talk about that. Sports and societies is something which is heavily funded by the union. It is a core activity. It does not reach all students, only those who choose to be involved. Is that something that should be protected going forward? Steph, you're first up.
Yes, I totally agree. Sports and societies should be protected going forward in here, because this is something we have to offer. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, I'm aware there's maybe over 75 societies, and try and correct me if I'm wrong, you have... Huh?
Almost 100.
So almost 100 now. When I spoke to Helena, she said 75 active societies, and a large proportion of sports societies, and these give students outlet from their academic studies, and I think they're important to have. As you mentioned, the subvention was cut last year, and we've been assured by the Vice-Chancellor that it will not be happening again. So what happens now, obviously, the budget forms all go through, students request what they want, and then we allocate the budget that way.
Okay, Jim, I think I'm going to start with how to secure funding for sports clubs and societies. I think there's a lot of societies and sports clubs out there, a lot of companies that are willing to invest some money into sports clubs and societies. I've seen it done this year with some societies approaching companies and trying to get money from them. The thing is that we've been doing is making sure that these companies don't trick the sports clubs and societies into signing something they can't achieve. So from that aspect, I'd like to encourage all sports clubs and societies to approach the companies and see if they can provide them with some funding. Secondly, I do agree with Steph and yourself. I think that the sports clubs and societies contribute majorly to the student body here at the university. Some of the students who can't do sports or societies, there are other means of activities for them to be involved in, such as trips and activities and any other aspects.
Thank you very much. Do you have another one from the floor?
Yeah. It's less of a manifesto question, more of a I'd like to know what you're like as people and how you work with others kind of thing. If you were a biscuit, what would you be and why?
The favourite mom's night question for Gordon Brown. If you were a biscuit, what would you be and why? You said you were happy.
I'm happy. For some reason, I kind of expected that question to be asked. And I've had in the back of my mind, I was going to say a party ring. Not just any party ring, it has to be like the pink ones with the yellow ones. They're the bright, flamboyant ones.
So I suddenly woke up and somebody's talking about pink rings on stage.
Okay, if I was a biscuit, what would I be and why? I'd be a digestive chocolate biscuit. Because, I'll tell you why, because it's hard when it's not dunked into anything, and once I've been asked nicely to do something, I sweeten up and I loosen up.
Do we have any more?
I know you're both VPs this year, and I wanted to make sure that you're going to give equal time to all of the VPs this year, or next year if you're elected, than just your. It can be quite difficult. Sorry. You've all implemented new systems this year, and I want to make sure that you're not clouded by the systems you've put in place, but you're open to look at all the whole union as a whole, and not the ones that you looked at this year.
Very good question, sir. One of you will take the office of president, which means that somebody else will take your old job. How protective will you be over the changes that you've implemented for the person coming in? And Osama?
Thank you for the question. I think obviously the new person, the new sabbatical team that's going to come in, they're going to come in with the new ideas and all their manifesto points that they'd like to develop on. So I'm not going to favour any of the current the coming sabbatical team, because as I've experienced this from the past, I was in charge of one society. I haven't favoured that society at one bit, and any society can challenge me.
Thank you. Steph?
I think with the people that were coming to the education role, I've had my successes this year, and I don't want to tread on their turf. I want to allow them to develop and find their way. One thing I found useful with having an officer, a second-year officer in the position of president, was that he was our go-to man at the time. All four of us used Malcolm to kind of help and guide us. And I'd like to be that person who just kind of helps and guides until people can develop and produce the fantastic thing that they will create in the end.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Thank you. Talking about our go-to man, we're going to go to him now. He's sitting over there. Everybody's using his power lead.
Okay, as the student union president, you'll be quite a recognisable figure around campus. Lots of people will come up and speak to you, and a lot of people will gain their entire impression of the student union from you. If you had 30 seconds to talk to a fresher next year and sell the students' union, what would you say to them?
For this question, I shall use the stopwatch. Malcolm said you've got 30 seconds to give an impression of the students' union to a fresher next year. Steph, your 30 seconds starts when you start.
Okay, so I'm Steph, and the Students' Union has been a big part of my life already. I've now been here almost 5 years. So there's many things to get involved in, whether you're interested in the sports club, or a society, if you want to go on a trip to Amsterdam or Paris, whether you want to be involved in activities, volunteering, training, things here, we can help increase your employability from this place, and we want you to flourish here at Surrey. We have everything here to offer, from friendships to a community to everything you want in a big happy family.
Osama, I'll give you 30 seconds.
Hi, I'm Osama, I'm the president of the student union. Do you know what the student union is? I'll ask them a question. If they don't know, I'll tell them what we do, what fun things we have. Trips, activities, societies, sports clubs, etc. So I'll speak to them about the things we offer, and I'll ask them to come with me to the student union to see how things operate.
Thank you. Having a little look at the internet. No, nothing there. Hello.
Hello, future president.
Sorry, speak up a little bit. If we go to.
I have a question for you. Well, what do you know? Malcolm has been great with the student media this year, and he's really encouraged us all to flourish and grow. He's also been incredibly helpful to us. How are you going to better that next year?
So, Malcolm has been supportive of the student media and encouraged them all to flourish. How will you then take that forward next year? I'm looking for specifics here. I don't want both of you just to say, I love GU2, Mad and Stag. I want to hear about some specific ways that you think the student media can be improved. Alright, Steph.
Okay, this was one of my manifesto points here. I didn't read it out in my introduction speech because obviously we only had 90 seconds. But what I mentioned here is that GU2, MADTV and the Stag have all been vital elements of communication. And I want to invest more resource into these student medias to make them the main source of communication to students. You guys have the ability to report news straight away. You have the ability to write about what students want to hear, and you have the ability to play the music students want to hear as well as delivering the news as quick as possible. So I think more time and resource, not necessarily financially, because we can do it without money, investing time. But I think putting you guys at the forefront of student communication for the union would be ideal.
Okay, as a supplementary to that, if you're going to give more to student media, what's going to get less?
Less effort for me.
If you're giving more to the student media, that means by definition you have to concentrate less on something else.
Well, obviously I've never been a president before, so I'm not entirely, I have a rough idea that Malcolm spends a lot of his time going to meetings, as do I at the moment, but I still find the time to, write for the Stag and appear in MADTV episodes. I think, I'm just trying to think, nothing would have to lose.
What's that?
Okay, I think my vision is to work as hard with the MADTV student GU2 and the Stag, as well as what Malcolm has been working on this year. But my main vision is to see them develop and to create one union hub, maybe a separate building, maybe somewhere else that the media can develop and nourish to their maximum capacity. Because I think at the moment you guys are doing a great job with the facilities you have, and I think I'd like that to improve. And with regards to funding, we can look at different alternatives to secure you guys some funding.
Okay, can you give us some specifics, Osama? It's very easy to say you're going to promise more funding for somebody, more funding for sports, society, student media. Where is this money going to come from?
As I said, I'll encourage societies and sports and the media to go and approach companies and see what they've got to offer and what sort of... there is money out there, it's just you have to go and grab it.
Okay, thank you. Well, apparently the hot topic at the moment is the quality of the buns and chances. So please get the candidates candidate to tell us their view on the Chancellor's buns.
I'm not going to lie, I hate them. Every time you go and eat a burger, the top bit slides off and you're covered in barbecue sauce or whatever you have on it.
So your pledge for the Chancellor's bun is?
Get rid of the bun. We need the sesame seed ones that stay together.
Alright,
Absolutely, I agree with you.
no consensus on the bun question.
I think the bun is, it has its moments. Sometimes it comes nice and fresh out of the oven, sometimes it just falls apart like my head. So.
Okay, do we see some more for you? That looks like we've come to the end of the road. So, now, before we finish, when Bill Clinton was president, he was famous for playing the saxophone. When Edward Heath was prime minister, he played the piano. Tony Blair played the guitar. The power of music is very important in leadership. So the candidates now have the opportunity to demonstrate to us through the medium of song how they're going to lead and inspire the union for the next year. I shall let you volunteer who goes first.
I'm going to sing Michael Jackson's song, Heal the World. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you. And that doesn't go with the tune.
This has brought back the nightmares I had when I failed my grade 3 singing exam. Okay, I'm going to sing one of my favourite songs. It always reminds me of one of my friends. And it's the song that coincidentally I failed my singing exam to. So, a little bit of Queen, Don't Stop Me Now. So, do I start from the beginning? Okay. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. Just give me a call. Don't stop me now. Don't stop me. I'm having a good time. I don't want to stop at all.
You were wrong there. We should have put an appeal. I'm sure you agree, we've got two great candidates here. We're going to have a great president next year. Hopefully that's my pension secured for the next 12 months. Right, we're going to finish not with a yes or no, but we're going to finish with a one-word answer, okay? So you're allowed to use one word in your answer. Please sum up the Students' Union.
Representation.
Involvement.
Thank you, your candidates for president.